Let's talk about the Meta outages then. Number one.
Meta outages. Nightmare. Had one this week as well.
Yeah, this week as well, yeah.
What day was it on?
I think yesterday it came through, or Wednesday.
I think it came through on like Wednesday.
Yeah,
the problem I've got with Meta outages is that they come through on like Wednesday, that you're having a Meta outage.
Mm-hmm.
But it often feels like it's been going on for days. For days. You're sat on, whatever dashboard you're on, Triple Whale, North Beam, like whatever it may be on the back end. Even just Shopify, Ads Manager, whatever. Yeah. And you're just pulling your hair out being like, where is the continuity gone? Where's the consistency gone? Nothing's changed. It must be the market. And then the problem is you then start making decisions in ad account, outside the ad account for the brand, pull back spend. You pull back spend, you might turn some stuff off, you might reappropriate budget to a different channel. And then that comes through and you realise you've made all these decisions for nothing.
Exactly. And I saw this exact same thing with the first outage of the year, which came through, I'm looking at it now on the Meta ad status, Friday, 9th of Jan. But I remember that week, we'd not touched anything in the ad account for this top spending client of ours.
Yeah.
And earlier that week, not Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, results just tanked out of nowhere. Everything on Triple Whale, day to day, down in the red. And we'd not touched anything in the ad account, not scaled budget back, not put anything live, not touched anything. And then I messaged the client, said, have you touched anything on the website, anything like that? No, nothing. So I knew, before even Meta had sent out this notification, I knew that was the only underlying factor. I knew it was coming. And then, lo and behold, later that week, Friday, Meta ad status came through, high disruptions on ads delivery, which means, we was hit with it Monday, Tuesday. We didn't get the notification until Friday. So unless you're actually someone who's aware of it, we're used to it, straight away, like you just said there, you're thinking, what's going on? What have I done? It's so hard when you just don't know it's coming.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. And it's also hard to get across to customers, to brands, right? And to kind of get the level of impact that it actually has on the ad account. When it's ad delivery, especially if you're using like cost controls, they tend to get tanned when you have a Meta outage. They can overspend, they can not spend at all. It's like they do tend to get hit the worst, which never used to be a problem. But the more that you have outages now, the last 6 months has just been like insane for Meta outages. Yeah. Like June, what was it? July and August last year. Was it July and August? June, July? There was a 2-month period where there was a Meta outage every other day for like 4 weeks or whatever.
September was a bad one because I remember I onboarded a new client and he just got hit so hard with them. His NCPA went through the roof and it just looked like it was me. I was trying to explain
to him. What's bro doing?
I was trying to explain to him, like, bro, honestly, this is not how it normally is.
And your only source is like, trust me, bro.
Source, trust me, bro. I'm like, honestly, showing him this Meta ad status, I'm showing him the messages coming through on Zapier. It just looks like I'm making it up, but I promise you I'm not.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is you can show them the Meta ad status page, right?
Status,
you get it through Zapier because you've set up the RSS feed so that you get it instantaneously when it does come through.
Exactly.
And it's funny because whenever they come through and you see the actual window, it's like outage started at 11 o'clock and ended at 1 p.m. It's like a 2-hour window, and you're like, no way.
No,
you're like,
no way.
This
has been going on all week.
Yeah, and
this
sometimes
all week.
It pops up. Yeah, and it pops up as resolved on the day results will get better. So like on the day that it pops up and it says high disruptions, like there was one, like, was it yesterday, day before? And it was like, on the day that it popped up as high disruptions, results were great. Everything was fine. And then they resolve it 2 hours later. And all you can take from that is it's like, it was actually prior to that moment. They just fixed it that day, but it's probably been going on for a while and it's been raised multiple times. But it also just leans into the fact that like, also Meta's customer service team, like and general treatment of brands is just nothing short of like shocking at times.
Yeah, absolutely. All you can do is sit on your hands. You can spend hours in them chats and you'll just get nowhere.
Yeah. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just wait when you have bad results.
In general, yeah, because like we said before, when you start making scatty decisions when results are bad, you end up chasing your tail.
Yeah,
You
you
end
can
up
end up
going
so
further.
far away from what actually got you to the dance
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you
And
end up then rolling all the way back, and you've wasted like even more time in that moment. It's like when you get pressure off, right? Everyone gets it. You get pressure off brands on the third week of the month, and you're like, what do you think this
yeah,
is?
yeah,
What do you think that, the consistency that we've just had for the last 6 months, from summer through to December, do you think that's now, that's wrong now? What we were doing that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
time, the month
Let's
on month
change it
growth,
up.
the scaling, that's wrong because it's the 24th of Jan and it's a
Everyone's
soft
waiting for
period.
payday.
People are waiting for payday, and it's like, well, no, now that I think the structure's wrong. It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
this is why you have to really have an onus on
yeah,
inputs and benchmarking so that you can point to, the actual truth of what's going on rather than just think and feel. Think and feel are
yeah.
like the enemy.
Exactly. And like you said there, with sitting on your hands and just not doing anything. With the example I talked about earlier, where we had the meta disruptions in the first week of Jan, that week we just sat on our hands. I said to the client, "Look, let's continue to not touch anything. I know this is a meta disruption.
Yep.
Obviously, the notification came through at the end of the week anyway, which confirmed that. But as I said, when everything just tanks down, we've not changed anything on our side, the client's not changed anything, it's got to be meta. Well, same thing with what do we do now? Don't do anything. And then what you'll see is when meta does sort itself out, everything goes miles up in the green again when you've
Yep.
not changed anything. And for
Nothing.
everything to go up in the green the
Yeah.
next morning by, total sales back up 500%, orders up by 900%.
Everything up.
It's
Sessions.
like, and you've not changed anything. It's like, that's meta sorting itself out again.
Yeah, I think you can also like point to the actual metrics, and this is what we try to do a lot of, and this is why we built eCompass, which is our benchmarking tool. It's because you can find the problem, right? There is this game is just an inputs outputs game, right? There's only a certain amount of levers you can pull from, your creative soft metrics, link click through rate, CPMs, cost per click, all the things that are over there. And then through to the site, the hard metrics, add to cart percentage, reach checkout percentage, purchase percentage, and you can usually point to the problem and be like, everything else is the same, but the quality of traffic that's coming through isn't as good because it's spending on the same ads. We're getting the same soft metrics. They're going through to the site, but they're not converting, which means when there's a meta outage, the likelihood is that we're getting the wrong traffic sent through. The quality of the traffic that we're getting is dropped for whatever reason, because usually you don't see a drop in sessions, right? It's like, everybody had the outage, not last week, the week before, which was the landing page views outage, right? Where it's like the landing page views were like going through the roof for the cost per landing page view, and the results were bad on the tail end of that. It's because the quality of traffic that was coming through probably wasn't great. So if you can point to those things and give confidence and clarity to your brand owners of what the problem is and what we need to do about it, then you can make better decisions on the tail end of it. And that's often what you have to do in these problems.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But I think hopefully this year we're going to see less of them. I mean, we got a lot through Q4 as well, which was not ideal, through November, which was crazy.
Normally they stop. It's like a cold freeze in like October and everything just stops. But even in October we're seeing outages. I don't think we'll get less. I think we'll get more because they're moving. Yeah. They're trying to surface the, obviously they're pushing now for Andromeda comes out. They're pushing last year.
Updating a lot of stuff.
Probably started last year is when it came into effect properly. They're updating a lot on creative diversity. They want to move away from creative iteration and they want to get more people, putting more diverse content because it's better for the users into the platform, because ultimately Meta's a users first platform. If users don't like what they're seeing, then less users, less ads, less sales. But they're going to start raising all of these categories that they're now judging performance of creative on. So like you've got creative entity ID, which groups creatives together based on similarity. But they're also going to start surfacing what amount of your creatives are too similar and what categories they go in terms of like even down to a granular level of like humor, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it rules those out that are too similar and just sees them as one. So super important that the diversification is there visually and contextually as well. Contextually, I think as we discussed, we were looking at some ads the other day when we was in the back of that taxi. I was showing you some of them ads. The only difference was the contextuality of them. They was both identical.
Messaging.
Yeah, it was just black and white messaging, black text on white ad.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much same sentence, just a different demographic being targeted.
Yeah.
And both ads were getting spend, which shows it's picked up on the differentiation being in the messaging rather than the visual side of things.
100%. And I think I'm just pulling up the article now from Meta, and it said on here, it spoke about like humour. I'm going to try and get it up now. Yeah, so here we go. So it says in here, we're continuing to test our expanded creative insights feature inside Ads Manager to help diagnose and address both creative fatigue and similarity. That includes offering actionable guidance like flagging if ad sets and formats are becoming fatigued, and giving inspiration from example creators by exploring nearly 150 different themes across humour, nostalgia, savings and more. It also now services recommendations like adding new assets, diversifying text, leveraging Advantage Plus Creative, Gen AI solutions and refresh campaigns. But they've got 150 different themes, right? And crazy. I would bet that no advertisers know exactly what those are unless they've been serviced to them from Meta. So there's 150 different ways that we can make this diverse, right? Just by in Meta's eyes theme, right? And you can have videos that have different themes, stacks that have different themes. But ultimately, it's super important to get creative diversification at scale into this ad account.
For sure, absolutely, visually and contextually.
Yeah,
testing both, and like you said, you know, when you're looking at the funnel, you just don't know specifically which one is doing the legwork.
No.
You just don't know. So
no, I have a massive problem with that. Go on.
Yeah, I had a client the other week, and they were saying like, you know, can you tell us which ad is doing this, which ad's doing that? And I'm like, look, it's not one specific ad that I can bring to you and say, here's the winning ad for your brand, right? I said, the funnel works collectively. You know, when someone's in the funnel, they're being hit with all of the ads. It's not just one that gets them through. And like we discussed the other day, like towards payday, you know, Meta's going to lean into the bottom of the funnel statics.
Yeah.
You know, which is going to tell you that they're the ones that are moving the needle. If you look at ad account and attribution and stuff like that, which obviously we don't look into too much for that reason, when really they've been brought in through the top funnel ads, which are getting majority of the spend, but not getting the sales.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you hear people saying, oh, well, that ad should be turned off then because it's not getting any sales. Like, no, that's not how it works. That's doing the legwork. That's the volume driving ad.
Yeah. I've got a massive problem with this. Even internally at SN right now, I've got a massive problem with it. Even our own decision making drives me absolutely mad, right? Yeah. It's like the way we make decisions and like the bias our own team have to their own ads, and the ads that they briefed and this great idea that they thought was going to be the one that unlocks, you know, untold reach and growth. I have a massive problem at Social Nucleus with winning ads, right? And how people think that they're actually a thing. And the question that I'm asking the people is, when your frequency is an 8, let's say it's an 8 over the last 30 days, right? Which is fine for like a fashion brand, for example, and you've got loads of different SKUs. How do we know of those 8, which was the one that made the customer buy? Nobody can tell me which one it was. No. And when you put it with, if you contextualize it with like a scenario of, it's the 24th of January. I last got paid on, you know, the 20th of December. Okay. I've seen an ad for, Capo. I'm going to buy the overshirt, right? I've decided. I've seen this ad. I've been seeing them for a while. I'm going to buy this overshirt. I can't buy it right now because I've got no money. Yeah. Next Friday rolls round. I still know I'm going to buy it. The next ad I see, it could be for a pair of socks from Capo. I'm clicking it. I'm going buying the overshirt. So we then, after that period in and around payday, we go and make all of our decisions based on these bottom of funnel ads for socks. It's like, oh, but they push loads of sales. We then iterate on those because they're like, they must be the ones doing all the damage. They're bringing in all the sales. and you iterating away from what's actually bringing people in. And I just think only one of those ads can get the sale. We don't know in what order, intent, timing. You can only work on consideration windows, but even still, most people just end up iterating on bottom funnel assets. Even ourselves, like this is what I'm saying, like our decision making. And we're starting to build some proprietary tech internally that weights ROAS differently depending on funnel stage, right? Because based on the data that we've seen, different funnel stage ads need a different ROAS goal. Yeah. It's like what you're talking about. The volume driver is the volume driver. Yeah. It's got the best net new incremental reach. It's bringing in the most people to the funnel. And then you've got your
lowest
funnel,
frequency.
Lowest frequency. It's got the bottom, and then you've got the bottom of funnel statics that are going to tidy people up. Well, if your ROAS goal overall is a 3, or your CPA goal for the overshirts is, £30 for whatever, and you can work out your blended from that, you then need to know what you need to weight towards each one. So we're going to build some tech that does this in all of our clients' dashboards, and it brings it to life for them in the reports, and we can see it in eCompass as well, where we know what weight each ad needs to have in terms of ROAS in the ad account. We know what goal it's going to need to have, and they're going to have to require a different set of goals to play by, because I just think that our current decision-making process of CPA and our own bias and, putting all the ads under the same roof and holding them by the same expectations is like, it's flawed. It's just fundamentally flawed. And you're disregarding all of the other ads, and it just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think, like we say, we always go off spend, and it's just super important to keep pushing on the diversification.
Yeah, spend without a doubt is the most important is the top metric. But then my problem is the next one is like, we're iterating on spend's the top metric, but then we're holding every single ad in spend order to the same ROAS goal. Yeah,
exactly.
They shouldn't be. And even further from that, we're working on, we build our ad accounts out by unit economics and stock constraints, so that we can understand the CPA goal per item now, right? So we can have a better understanding in the ad account of what we're paying per SKU, because that's super important, because we can get into this later, but averages definitely lie. But you're right in terms of spend being the key metric, and I think Flexi ads is Meta telling us to do exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, with the amount spent and spend being a key metric, because obviously we're running with CBOs, obviously never ABOs, right?
No.
So and that's a whole different topic in itself. But obviously we're filling up the CBO with volume and diverse creative, diversity within the volume. And when you're filling up that CBO with essentially just net new options each week on a weekly basis, and you're saying to Meta with a CBO, there's the budget, there's your options, take your pick, show us what is most likely to convert. And that metric, amount spent, is so important, because that's Meta saying, right, okay, you give me this budget, you give me all these options, these top 10 that I've spent on the last 7 days, top 15, top 20, whatever it is, these are your best option. And the ones it's not spending on, and the ones that are getting no spend, it's saying those are not good enough compared to the rest. That's what that as of now as well, anyway, because we've seen later down the line that the ones that can get no spend for months, and all of a sudden they can just bounce to the top. So it's super important to always leave the option on as well, because a lot of the times clients ask, all these ads that are getting no spend, should we just turn them off? I'm like, no, just leave them on.
No, I think you've obviously got like ad constraints now where some people are only allowed X amount of ads on, and obviously you turn off the ones that have got no spend at that.
I've got a couple of them,
which is fine, but that's it's obviously based on what they get most spend on is based on the estimated action rate, which is what the whole algorithm's based on, right? Estimated click-through rate times estimated conversion rate. And I think it's just our whole decision-making process is just flawed, and I'm trying to change that, the way that we're thinking internally. But even we have like media buyers that have just got unbelievably bad habits from how we've always done things, right? And only now we're trying to highlight that it's a bad habit. And I just think you kind of end up chasing your tail, and this is how you can end up with just like pumping static ads out all the time, right? When in reality, if you want an ad account to be anything, you want it to be more video than static. But that's not normally the case.
Yeah. I remember there was a time when I was at Social Nucleus where we went through a stage where, and I look back at it now and it's madness to think about. But we're just making the same ads every week,
Iterations. Yeah.
iterations like
100%.
static iterations every week, and then
Yeah.
we really broke it down. We got into it and it was like, wow, like we are literally just doing the same thing here on repeat. And
Yeah.
we need to split this
And
out.
expecting a different outcome. Which
Exactly.
just doesn't happen. And if you think about Meta, right, like without a doubt, if you look at what's gone on over the last 12 months, right, you've had Andromeda come out, right, and then you have Meta putting articles out about creative entity ID, which is like, you might think you've got 20 ads live, but if they're too similar, Meta's going to view them as one, right?
Yeah.
Boom. So you're looking at your ad account, you're like, fucking great, we've got 600 ads live, And Meta sat there being like, you got 10. It's like,
got 10.
You've got 10 live. So well done.
Chill, bro.
Spending all that money, time, effort, and wasted resource on building 600 ads when you could have just done 6 single ads, because that's how we view it, right? So then you've got them putting all the information out about creative entity ID. Then they put out articles on, demystifying creative, the one that I just ran through there, which is talking about, in Meta's eyes, what creative diversity looks like, what's about to be important, and what they're going to surface in Ads Manager to help us as, advertisers, brands, media buyers, whatever you want to call yourself, growth strategists, they're all the same thing. Like telling us how to win. And then you look at what they've done in ad account with Flexi ads, right? Flexi ads are, give me X amount of creatives, X amount of headlines, X amount of copy, right? And we're just going to go away, put them in the best order that we see fit at Meta, because we know way more than you, machine learning, probabilistic forecasting, like we know way more than you. And what we're going to do now is we're actually not going to tell you which one's getting the sales. Yeah. We're not going to tell you. We're going to tell you what your overall ROAS is for all those assets. We're not going to tell you which one gets the sales.
Yeah.
That's them telling us to get out of the way with your terrible decision making. Yeah.
Yes.
And this goes back to when you're not using Flexi ads and you've just got 50 ads in an ad set or whatever it may be. Yeah. Us going in there and being like, I'm going to decide which one of these did what it did for each different person. It's like, that's just us assuming that everybody buys the same. They've seen the same 8 ads.
Exactly.
And of the same 8 ads, they made the decision on the 3rd ad and they've gone and bought that, and then we're going to do it on this one, and we're going to do it. It's like, how do you know? How does anybody know?
No, you don't. You don't. That's the thing. And I've had this conversation with clients before. Once that ad is live, obviously we know how to make good creative, right? And we know the right ad account strategy. But once that ad is live, Meta has access to all the data, all the algorithms. Obviously, it's AI backend now, and it knows better than anyone at that point. We can't see that side of things. Nobody can.
Nobody
Meta
can see
knows it. So that's it's a key point.
I think this year is like the death of iterations, right? It used to be back when we did it, it was kind of the thing to do. And then what's probably happened is that's probably a terrible user experience, because every time they go on Meta and see the same ads, right? A billion different versions. I still think that has a part to play, but I think it's just there's a different way to do it now. It's a different game that you got to play there. I think you've got to be more diverse, obviously. But I think this year is creative diversity at volume. And I think there's no better way to get diversity when you're creating content than having more people create content. So like, we deliver loads of content for our clients every single week, but we've got processes in place that mean we deliver it in a certain kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Each brand has their own designer that they work with. That designer's got a way of developing, that team's got that creative strategy has a way of briefing, right?
Yeah.
So you're ultimately looking through the same lens all the time. There's only so many times one person. The best way to get diverse is having different perspectives. So like having someone else brief for them, because they'll come in and be like, oh, I'd do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the more people you can get briefing, coming up with ideas, sending inspiration through to the channels, all this kind of stuff, that's how you will churn out more diverse content. And I think that's going to be more important this year than ever.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing we've done is, and I think this is something that we used to do at SN a lot as well, come into the calls creatively, and everybody bringing their own board, and everybody grouping them ideas together, like, this could work well for this brand, this could work well for that brand, and everybody just bouncing ideas off each other. And not going off of, you know, what's working in the ad account, but more so what's not in there.
Yeah.
What's not in there,
A
what
great
other
point.
people are doing, you know.
100%. What's not in there is more important than anything else at this point in time. Because
Absolutely.
you know, there's only so many times you can put a collage ad live, right? But then here comes the problem: is like getting net new content from clients at times, right? Like getting new raw assets, and like sometimes you come up with all these great ideas. You've got these 10 things that you like to bring to life. These 10 videos, statics, and you know they'd be great for this product, that product, and we need X, Y, and Z. And they look great in the research, and they look great on the brief. But then, like, have you got the raw assets to bring it to life? And how diverse can they really be when you're using the same stuff from the same shoot again? Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. I know you've had this a lot, and I've had it a lot as well. I had it recently, actually, with a startup brand that came to us with very limited raw assets, and you know, we got the first batch of assets done, and basically just come back with loads of amends saying, you know, they're nowhere where they need to be. Sent over loads of inspiration from other brands that are winning in their niche, and I was like, look, I get what you're saying, but we can't make your ads look like theirs because you don't have the raw assets, what they do. Until you give us them, we can't do it.
No.
You know,
it's impossible.
We can work to your brand guidelines and your brand book to a T. But we can only do it with the raw assets that you give us, which is very limited. We basically, all we had was e-com imagery, and that's it.
Yeah, but even then, right, this box that they put themselves in, there is a difference between being wrong, an asset is wrong, wrong product with wrong text or wrong USPs, versus what you don't like to see as an individual, right?
Exactly.
And when you force your individual opinion on every single asset, your diversity then is capped at you, right? It must be what Brad likes to see. So that, and then Brad's assumption is everybody likes what I like.
Exactly.
Not true.
This was my point. I was like, look, you know, not everybody sees things from the same perspective. You know, what resonates with you as the brand owner, it doesn't resonate with someone else, you know? So you can get too caught up in this is off-brand, that's off-brand.
Elevated.
The mass market, premium, all that stuff.
Someone needs to tell me what elevated looks like. Because it's mental. Someone needs to tell me what elevated looks like. It's just a fancy word that's thrown around to be divisive and subjective. It's like, not elevated enough. Why?
Yeah, why?
No one can ever answer that question. It's just not.
Yeah, it's just a subjective opinion. And the thing is, the mass market don't care about your brand, your guidelines and the look and the feel and the premium and elevation and all this stuff. They just want a good offer on a product that fixes the problem they've got. That's it.
100%. I think fashion's got more of a. That's more like, I like that look. I want that look. But that's mainly raw assets on fashion, right? You get that across through the raw asset more than any high prop stuff that you can really do. But even still in fashion, you get people that are like, oh, it's not elevated enough. You know, you'll have like an e-com shop, in like a collage ad, for example, and then you know the brand owner will send you through like a represent 3-minute video from the 24/7 run club running through the hills of California, and they're like, it's not as elevated as this. It's like, no, because that was done in a box room in Manchester with a white background, and they're running up a hill in California. It's like, you know, deliver this and I'll deliver that.
Yeah, with a camera that's £20,000 more expensive than those.
You know, and a load of influencers on there and stuff. But I just think that too many people can find themselves into a small brand box, and I think that limits scale. Right, it's like
absolutely.
It's crazy how we saw a lot of success last year with raw videos from shoots, like behind the scenes, but with no music, no sound. So you can hear the camera going, you can hear people speaking, you know, you can hear people talking in the background. We saw massive success with that, and it's probably because it's more raw for the platform than anything else. And yet, you know, you try to do it for some brands, and they're like, oh, no music, it's off brand. It's off brand. It's like, so your brand is music, right? It's
Exactly.
like it's not. We're in this game of we need to get results, and to get results, you should just follow the data. Like
Exactly.
I feel, I just don't feel like whenever a sentence starts with that, it's not come from anything of substance, right? It's like it needs to come from more data driven.
Exactly. And like you said there, with especially with fashion and the raw sound, you can hear the cameras flicking, people in the background. It's just authentic.
Yeah.
It's very authentic. If you're scrolling down, Instagram Reels, for example, and you get, a no view ad, which he did last year, which works really well for him. Just the dead silence in the background with, the natural environment.
Yeah.
It's more intriguing. It's more engaging. It doesn't feel as forced. It's relaxed. And for someone to come around and say like, "No, I just don't feel like that's right," but it's like we're not going off feelings. We're going off what's working.
Yeah. And also, it's like their feelings. Like, how do you know what? Everybody doesn't feel the same way about the creatives, right?
Exactly.
Like, I would love to put. You would love to put it in a poll and be like, which one of these would you buy from, which you wouldn't. I bet it'd be like you probably have a couple of favourites. No one could tell you which ones they're going to be. Nobody.
Yeah.
They'd be guessing, right? It's like the whole creative decision-making thing that we spoke about before. Like everybody's guessing. Like having a high click-through rate doesn't mean you're going to get a high CPA. It's like a low CPA, sorry. So it's like everything's guesswork with creative for the most part. And there's definitely people that are really good at coming up with creative. But I think the problems that a lot of brands have is they confine themselves to like what I like, right? Rather than thinking, especially when you're looking at fashion, it's like everyone wears it differently and thinks differently and has a different reason for that thing. So you making decisions for them, I think, is poor.
Yeah, exactly. And like we said, you can't think from a tunnel vision perspective because you as the brand owner, and especially economically as well, you're completely different to the mass market. You don't think how they think.
Yep.
You don't behave how they behave. You don't do what they do. So, why should they have the same perspective as you on creative? They're not going to.
I agree. I completely agree. How are you setting up your campaigns at the minute? What's your ad account structure looking like?
So, of course, CBOs.
Yeah.
Yeah, CBOs only. Still getting ad accounts coming to me when I'm doing audits of ABOs, which I find crazy.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, CBOs, obviously, we don't have many fashion, but if it was fashion, we'd have a specific campaign for dynamic as well, carousel, stuff like that.
DPAs.
DPAs. And then splitting partnership ads out as well.
Definitely a good idea.
Because obviously, as we know, Meta is favoriting those right now.
100%.
So when you put them into the CBO, they just soak up all that spend, which obviously we don't want to do. So I want to manipulate the budget a little bit more there. So splitting certain things out, but
like DPAs, like partnership campaigns,
and also buy products as well. I literally spoke to someone yesterday who wanted to look at coming on with us, and she was selling handbags.
Yeah.
But then she also launched jewelry, right? And then she was like, I don't know what happened with the jewelry. I put it into the same CBO and it just didn't get any spend. The product flopped. So I was like, well, that was the problem. I was like, you should have split it out.
Have to split them out.
Per product has to have its own campaign.
Has to have its own campaign. Account structure must follow unit economics and stock constraints, right? It's like, it just has to, right? Yeah. Toff, moth and boff is just theatre that works against business goals, right?
It's terrible.
If you think about, if you're just putting it all into one campaign or you're putting all your toff and however you're splitting it up, I don't know. I'm assuming by audiences or something, but it works against business goals. It might be okay when you're small. Yeah, you'll probably be able to get away with it because you're going to have less SKUs, less stock, less demand, right? So you can put it all in there and you'll get away with it for a while. But as you start to scale, one of the constraints you're going to come across is you're going to end up with stock on shelves, right? And we work with a lot of fashion and we have this all the time where it's like they've got so much money tied up in inventory on stocks on shelves that they're not getting rid of because their ad account structure is top them off and boff with all products, all creative in. And the problem you've got is the AOV goals and lowest cost, right? So you've got an ad account structure that's working on averages. So you've got top them off and boff. They're working on, we need X CPA overall as a brand. But you've got t-shirts. So let's say their CPA is £50, right? And it's like, that's profitable for them but they've got within there, they're selling coats that are £120 and they're making money on that CPA, right? Like that works. But within it, they're selling t-shirts at £30, right? Yeah. You're losing money on those sales if it's a £50 sale, right? Yeah. So like, if you don't split it out by products, then you're not going to be able to see the CPA goals and the unit economics. And you're also, Meta's going to favor 5 to 10 ads, right? Which means of those 5 to 10, it's probably 2 to 3 products. You're only going to sell those for the majority, right? Exactly. Whereas if you split them out, you can split them out by creative, you can split them out by unit economics and CPA goals, so you can have a closer handle on that. And also, when you set up a campaign and it's lowest cost, so highest volume, which is what most people do, you're asking Meta to go and get you the lowest CPA possible, right? The lowest CPA possible, which means that it's going to go after the cheapest items, right? That's naturally what it's going to do. I need to get this person the lowest CPA physically possible. So it's going to go through all your creative in there, the estimated click-through rate, the estimated conversion rate, and the AOV. And it's going to be like, right, this has got the lowest AOV. I'm going to go after that because I can get the lowest CPA for it. And it's just a nightmare way of setting up your ad account that eventually you'll come to a point, you'll get away with it for a while, but eventually you'll come to a point where you just can't scale. And that's the reason. It's because you've got so much money left on your inventory on your shelves. It's costing you money every single month. And you're not selling it because you're not appropriating any marketing dollars or pounds to those set SKUs, right? Each collection should have their own campaign so that you're pushing that stock out, especially if you're working in fashion, you've got spring, summer, autumn, winter. You've got a timeline to get rid of that, right? If you've still got shorts come August, September, October, you're pushing towards the end of September and you've got shorts, you're in trouble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
It can just be a nightmare. I also think working on averages in general works against business goals, right? So like an average CPA, average conversion rate, AOV. It's like, of that conversion rate, which product is dragging it down? Yeah. And have you got a price problem? So if your conversion rate's 3%, for example, somewhere within that you're going to have products that it's at 1%. Yeah. They're getting traffic 100%. So break them out. Find out what's working on a granular level and what's not, and then appropriate your time spent to the stuff that's not working, right?
Exactly.
Whereas what most people do is they're like, here's our top 3 best sellers. Let's get all of our creative focus for those that are already selling. Let's send all of our traffic there when they're already selling. Whereas in actual fact, the win is unlocking the total addressable market to sell the rest of the stock that's sitting on the shelves costing you money, right? Exactly. Put all of your time into those because you've unlocked that already. Put it all into these markets, all into these stock constraints, and move them. That's how you win.
Yeah, totally agree. Another thing as well with ad account structure is interest stacks, right? And people seem to think that these are a thing of the past, but I think there's an argument for you can use these in the right way at the right time. For example, we had a client come to us last February, still with us now in January.
What niche?
So, health and wellness.
Okay.
/ beauty.
Women.
Women. And this guy was running his own ads. He come from a mentorship that he was in. He was running his own ads. Yeah. And they got it to 20k a month. Yeah. And he just couldn't scale his ad account. He couldn't scale it. Every time he pushed a spend up, it just fell off a cliff, right? And then I met him here in Dubai. We did the proposal together. Yeah. And I went through the ad account and I knew straight away, as soon as I looked into the ad account, I knew what the problem was. He had like 5 ABOs on.
Which he was, and he's making the decisions on what's on and off, where the budget's going to, based on what he likes.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly, and they're all eating away at each other. All these ABOs have got ads duped across them. He's got like 10 different ads live.
His favourite ads. His favourite ads based on
are
what
all
he
in each
likes.
campaign. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's trying to scale
Love
them all
it.
up at once.
Love
And
it.
the first thing I did, right, was obviously when we take over an ad account, we gradually and incrementally phase over to our winning strategy. Put our CBO in, transition that budget over. Within the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the triple whale was just going like this, up. And as the more I was just pulling off these ABOs into the CBO and had one of each ad live rather than all these duplicates.
Yeah.
But another thing, what really moved the needle for this account was that when I put the maximum time frame on, he'd not even spent 30k maximum English pounds on this, right?
Yeah.
So obviously that there is a pixel and an account with only 30k's worth of customer data, which is nowhere near enough, right? So we did the old school way and we threw some interest stacks in there, tested some interest stacks. We tested a few, but the one that really took off was cosmetics. And obviously we had our CBO. I put broad in there still, but then I had like cosmetics, female fashion brands, a couple of others, but all the spend meta favorited straight to the cosmetics interest stack. So when we was looking at it on the last 7 days, all the spend was going to cosmetics, and this is when the account was just scaling. And then eventually we got him his record months from 20k a month to 100k a month within his first 90 days. And once we got there, I could see the spend. Meta had really used that cosmetics interest stack to as much as it could have done. And Broad started to take back over again. So I was like, right, okay, this is a message from Meta saying, I'm done with that now.
Yeah.
So I turned it off and back on full Broad, and then 6-figure months consistently ever since.
I wonder what level of you probably know the answer to this, but I wonder when the cosmetics took off, did it have the same ads in it as the Broad?
Yes. So at this point, was purely testing the audiences. So when we're doing that, Broad, interest stack, maybe a lookalike, if you would test them, all three would have the same ads in. So at that point, you are literally testing the audience.
And the constraints you would put on that scenario is you've got to basically be 0 to 10, right? So like a 0 to 10k brand or a 10k to 20k brand.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
That's the constraint you have to have. And what you're trying to do is feed signal to the metapixel to be like, these are the kind of people we're after. Because if you're not getting enough data on a 7-day period through your pixel, so you're not getting out learning, you haven't got a big enough budget to get out learning, your AOV is too high, your budget's too low so you need to get 50 purchases over a 7-day period attributed in an ad set for it to exit learning. If your AOV is high, you can work out your budget and work out how many sales you've got to get, and you can work out what your CPA goal will be for that.
Exactly.
But if you're not doing that, you're not getting enough data through to the pixel, you're not giving it enough signal to learn to know exactly who you're going after, that's when you do that.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we like to call seasoning the pixel, right? And also, another thing that we did, which we didn't used to do, but we was using 7-day click and 1-day view. Just using the 1-day view in that time frame just to get more signal to the account,
to the pixel. Yeah.
And then same with the interest stack. Once we're seeing the results take off because we're providing more signal, we're getting more purchase through this ad set and the campaign itself. Then again, we leaned back off of 1-day view and just straight on 7-day click.
Always 7-day click. Outside of that, always 7-day click.
Outside of that, always 7-day click. Unless
7-day click is the 7-day click is the truth.
7-day click is the goal.
Yeah. Anything else is just more theatre, right? 7-day click, 1-day view, 1-day engage on a retargeting campaign, so that your agency can turn around and be like, look at the ROAS in the ad account. The problem's not here. It's like those sales are not incremental. 50% of them are on a view or an engaged sale. It's like your CPA is actually double and you're full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Over attributing massively.
Yeah, over attribution. Attribution in general is one of the main reasons people end up turning off their volume ads. It's like, and this is what we were talking about earlier, about needing different ROAS goals per different ads, which is something that we're working on building into our dashboards using tech. Yeah, people make massive decisions based on attribution, and they've got a massively over attributed ad account because they're using the wrong attribution windows. It's away from the truth. It's sending the wrong signal to Meta. And, then they start to allocate their media budget across various different channels. They'll use Meta, Google, TikTok, Snapchat, and they'll be like, oh, we shouldn't be spending on Meta because Google's got a 15 ROAS, right?
Oh,
We should put more budget there. Or we've set up TikTok and TikTok's at a 12 ROAS. Let's put more budget there. And we've done incrementality tests on this, and there's no better test than like general share of wallet. And like there's a reason why Meta owns 70%, 80% of everybody's share of wallets, because that's what drives the most incremental sales.
yeah,
And you have brands that are like, diversification can kill small brands, right? It's like you've got you've got a 2K
channel
a day.
diversification.
You've got like a 2K a day budget and you're splitting it across 5 channels, right? Which means you've got 5 different channels to work on, 5 different channels of sets of problems for each channel, 5 different formats for your ads, so all the creative volume and all the creative formats that you've got to come up with. And it's like, and the more channels you add, the murkier your attribution actually gets, and you don't really know where to put your marketing pounds or dollars. And it just leads to bad decision making, when in reality, until you get to like 10K a day, maybe a little bit more, I think when you get to like 10K a day in spend, you can start to think and ask the question of like, right, where is the next most efficient place to put some of my media spend, right? But until that point, like you can ride Meta and Google to 10K a day and beyond.
Oh, easy. And I think, like you said there, if you're a new brand and your marketing budget is 2K, and you're trying to spread it across Meta, Google, TikTok, Pinterest, Snapchat, you're spreading yourself too thin, and you're just widening the headache. Hone
100%.
in on the main revenue driver, which is Meta and Google. And
100%.
Meta is obviously, as we run by the winning split of 70, 30, 80, 20, and majority of that going to Meta, of course, because it is the cold audience. It's where everybody's scrolling. Whereas Google, nobody scrolls Google. If you're searching in on Google for something, you're already warm for it. It's a warm platform, right?
100%.
Meta is where we get our ads in front of net new people, and we present this product to them, and we can get that product in front of them and make them realize they didn't even know they wanted or needed this thing in the first place.
You can go straight to them.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Meta, as we know, is where you really flex your muscles with creative, whereas Google, you don't really do that as such. Obviously, you've got PMax, but the main thing is always going to be search, right? Keywords, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think one of the problems I have with like channel diversification is, done incorrectly, it just puts more pressure on your margin because you're spending your media buying budget less incrementally, right? Which then means you start holding other channels to a higher CPA goal, right? Because it's like to a lower CPA goal, sorry, because it needs to hold the weight of other channels, right? And then you end up scaling Meta back based on attribution, but then you need to get a lower CPA because your blended's actually going up because you're spending on more channels. You're now spending on TikTok, Snapchat, and overspending on Google. So your blended CPA goes up. You then look at Meta that usually has the highest CPA, sorry, right, or the worst ROAS, and they're like, let's pull back from that channel and put more into there, and all of a sudden you're just making these decisions that pull you further and further away, and all people want to do is point at attribution in the ad account, when in reality, the more you look at it, the murkier it gets. That's just the way that it is.
And I had this exact conversation with another client. They mentioned that exact same thing. Well, Google ROAS is higher. We should scale into that. I'm like, no, because think of it like this. Meta works on maximum 7 days, right? 7-day attribution windows. Somebody could see that ad and then screenshot the ad and come back to it 8 days later when they've been paid, for example, at the end of the month. And what they're going to do, they're going to search it in through Google. Google takes a sale. Meta doesn't. You think Google's done the legwork, when really it was Meta. And
what about that one when they come and they're like, according to Shopify, we get 70% of our sales from direct. It's like, when they do Shopify attribution, we get all our sales from direct. Why are we spending so much on ads? It's like, well, turn them off and find out, right?
Yeah, let's turn them off then.
And we've had plenty of brands that have actually done it. They've taken us up on it. They're like, yeah, cool, let's cut it by half and see what happens. And just day by day, it just gets worse. It's like it just goes down, and it plateaus, then it goes down, then it starts to nosedive. And what they don't realize is why that's a massive problem. Is it's actually during that period of scaling back, you're actually cutting off future demand, right? So we've had a couple of brands in Jan, that are significantly down, on ad spend versus last year, right? And they did it because they wanted to enable a higher ROAS, right? They're like, we want a higher ROAS this Jan, and I understand the mechanics of how they're thinking,
Yes.
But if you're above your blended and you're profitable, which they are comfortably above, right?
Yeah.
Spend into it because you're going to leave money on the table, right?
Exactly.
But they wanted to pull all the way back to get a better ROAS. But what they don't see is they're comfortably above the goals and they're leaving room for revenue growth on the table, right?
Yeah.
But what's happening is when they pull back their spend and they've just acquired a shitload of customers over Q4, all the customers, that mean they're above revenue year on year, but massively down in ad spend, right? So they're thinking this is amazing right now.
Yeah.
But all of these customers are returning customers.
Yeah.
They're all returning customers, which is great. But these two brands in particular are fashion brands, right? So they're all returning customers, and returning customers have a lifetime value in fashion. They churn, right? Everybody churns.
Yes.
You buy from one brand for a while, then you see an ad for another one, you start to buy from them. What they've not noticed is the new customer acquisition is massively down, right? So they're churning customers on this end. They're like these customers that they're burning through them, and they're not acquiring enough new customers to outweigh the churn. You don't feel that this month because you're getting all of the return customers to come back from sales, and it feels nice, right? And it feels good.
Yeah.
But when we look at the lifetime value expectations, and we're currently churning more return than we're acquiring new, that's hidden behind the revenue being up, right? They're like, oh, my revenue's up. This feels amazing. The blended ROAS is up. What they don't realise is that in February, March, when they're wondering why their CPA, their blended CPA, looks exactly like their end CPA, which isn't usual. That's not how this is supposed to work. It's because all of the sales now are net new customers, right? And your percentage of returning customers has shrunk because you didn't acquire any new ones in January. And people don't see this coming, and they just sleepwalk into these problems. And it can come from channel diversification, where they cut the budget on Meta, and that's where then all your new customers falls off, and you end up acquiring a load of returning customers on TikTok and Google, for example, and they just don't see what's coming in 2 months' time. They then forget about that decision they've made, and then come mid-Feb, end of Feb, they're like, what the fuck's going on? They're like, what's going on? What is going on? Where's the margin gone? Why is our CPA up? Why is our CPA close to our NCPA? What's going on? What's happening with this split, that split? Why is conversion rate down? It's like because it's more net new than returning.
Yeah, exactly.
Way more.
Yeah, exactly. And they're thinking too much day to day and in the week rather than longevity.
100%. Yeah, you can't cut your way to growth, right?
No,
it just doesn't work. And I think
you need that reach.
Got to get that reach. And I think something else that is often overlooked when you're making these decisions is margin innovation. It's like margin innovation is key. You get to a certain point where Meta's ultimately an auction, right? And you can spend £1 more than your competitors, you can win. That's the way all auctions work out of Meta. If you want buying a car at an auction, if you're in Meta obviously has weighting dependent on click-through rate and conversion rate, right? Estimated click-through rate, estimated conversion rate. That's your estimated action rate. That's the whole game. But this is where brands that don't stay lean don't win, right?
Yeah.
Brands that don't stay lean don't win. And this is why you'll have a drop shipper, sat in the ass crack of Thailand somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Who's got
Barley,
with barley belly in his villa for the next month, right? In the ass crack of nowhere. He's got 19 maids, he's got a chef, he's got an army of VAs, and it's just him. And he can afford a 30-40% lower CAC than Will, who's hired an internal team in the UK. He's got, 3 people looking after his social media, he's got 2 people looking after his email, he's got, staff running around doing X, Y, and Z. That's why they can scale so much more aggressively at times than brands that aren't lean, right? Because with 0 brand constraints, this dropshipper is also probably ripping 1,000 ads per month because he's got 0 brand guidelines. He doesn't even know what brand guidelines are. He just puts ads live, direct response ads,
He's not bothered about elevation.
Doesn't even know what it means. He thinks that's a bar in. He thinks that's a bar in Bali. He thinks that's something where it's like 2 for 1 drinks on a Friday. Yeah, he's no idea what elevation means. And then you're competing with him, 30-40% lower CAC, zero brand, ripping 1,000 ads. Yeah, probably ripping your ads off, just putting his own shit on there, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got on the right hand side these brands that are so fat and heavy, and every time you add a cost to your brand, your CPA goal goes up. Yeah. Hire that person, CPA goal goes up. Yeah. Increase your, you want to elevate your packaging, CPA goal goes up.
Yeah. Premium packaging, premium ingredients.
Yeah.
All of this, COGS are just going up.
COGS are going up, and as your COGS are going up, your CPA goes up with it. And what happens quite often is they don't change their CPA goals, they raise their costs, and then they start scaling into a loss because they're not involved with their unit economics and their metrics. But what they need to be doing at all times is trying to drive that down. Yeah. So working with your supplier on getting better rates, increasing as you increase the volume, right? You get economies of scale. You've got to be going to your supplier being like, hey, what are we doing about these payment terms? What, can we get it for a couple of pounds cheaper? I did a podcast with Nick at Bino, who scaled every year for the last 3 years with us. They did more orders in December just gone than they did in the entire year before. And he said he said he's quarterly, he flies to see all of his suppliers and he negotiates them down on costs. Every quarter they grow, he flies to see them all. Yeah, it's a game board, and it has multiple suppliers, multiple things. He flies to see them all.
I remember being
and he drives down the costs. He drives them down. Yeah, that's what you have to be doing. But most brand owners, they bring them up, right? They raise their COGS every quarter, and then their CPA doesn't follow.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Many times I've come across that, especially with these tariffs and stuff like that coming into play as well.
Yeah.
These COGS are growing more and more.
Yeah, and your TAM. Like, how many times have you had it? You spoke to me before about like you've scaled a brand to like a really high number, talking like 5K a day, 10K a day, a decent number in ad spend, and it's like at this point, when you scale up, your CAC is going to go up, right? Yeah. It's going to become, the relationship between spend and return is not linear. They don't follow each other, right? No. It doesn't happen like that.
No.
So as you scale higher, your CAC's going to go higher, right?
Yeah.
So you get to a point with a brand where you're like, we can't afford to go in the next tranche of spend, right? We can't afford to go from 10K to 15K because we can't afford the CPA that goes with it, right?
Yes.
So then it's all about margin innovation. It's like, what the odds of us finding a creative that's going to double your link click-through rate so we can go from 10K a day to 15K a day is slim. Yeah.
Exactly.
Your conversion rate is dialed. Yeah. You can probably only get 0.1 somewhere now and again, depending on the market, 0.2 maybe if you've got someone shit hot that does your conversion rate at that point because you've already kind of worked that out, right? So then you're like, what are you left with? You either accept that that's the TAM for your specific brand. It's not the TAM for the market. The TAM for the market is much higher, but you can't reach those because your unit economics, your cost for your brand, specifically you, will only allow you to get to here. And then they point at brands that are up here and they're like, well, they're spending 50K a day. It's like, well, how if you give me their exact specific COGS and business constraints, you'll be able to get there.
Exactly.
But for your business, for your COGS, for the CPA that you can afford, you're here, right? Our creative shit hot, your conversion rate's good, your product's good. Yeah. Unless we slap a new hero product and add a new TAM on, right? So you go into a different market, or you find a new winning product in fashion or what have you. Like maybe you go into women's, you're a menswear brand. Now you do women's athleisure as well, and you open up that TAM. Unless you do that and go the product expansion route, that's you. Right, and you can't afford to go any further, so then you have to start thinking of other avenues.
Exactly, and I had a prime example of this as well. So the beauty brand I was telling you about before, the health and wellness / beauty brand for women. Initially, the NCPA target was £14, right? And then once we started climbing, the client come to me. This was a great day, by the way. He come to me and said, "You know what? Now we can afford a £20 NCPA." Because he worked out some stuff on the back end. I was like, let's go. And then, we was trading on this £14 NCPA, and then bam, we just got that little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
And then just made all the difference.
immediate scale, right?
Yeah,
You've
immediate
got,
scale.
when you get to that point, right, you either have to do margin innovation, which gives you immediate scale, like being allowed to go and spend an extra, £5 to £10 per customer, amazing, yeah.
Oh,
What we don't know is how much further that's going to get you, right? It could only get you, depending on the tranche of spend and the tier of spend you're in, that could only get you an extra grand a day on your spend, right? It could get you an extra 5k a day. We don't know what tranche or what tier we're in until we start charging into that spend level, right? Because Meta has, at a point, they have a CAC in mind, or a CPA in mind for that market, right? And you have to make that CPA work. They're not going to bring it down for you.
No.
They're not.
No, they're not.
This is what it's going to cost you to acquire a customer at this level. Pay it or don't and stay where you're at. And you can only pay that with margin innovation or horizontally, bring out new products, right?
100%.
And it's so much easier to open up massive scale with product expansion than it is anything else, right? Imagine the amount of scale you're going to get if you're a men's athleisure brand, right? So let's say your Condition, for example, and you get to, you're spending 15k a day on your ads, and you're like, fuck it, we've been here for 12 months now, we can't get any further, right? Our run rate's caught up with us and now we're plateauing. It's like, what's more likely to give you mass scale? A winning creative for the same stuff that you've been selling, a different colour of the same product, or you bring out footwear, or you bring out women's athleisure and you expand your product range. Which one's most likely?
Exactly. Product.
100%. Product. New product brings new total addressable market. New total addressable market means that, you're at 15k a day for this TAM, and that's what you're spending. Well, actually, you're at 0 for this one, so you can go on the same journey you've just been on for this, right? You can go, now you're into women's, massive market, brand new, starting at 0, new campaigns, new product sets, new SKUs, new creatives, new everything, start to grow it, Like, that's going to give you way more than anything else.
It's going to give you way more leverage. And again, I had this same conversation with another client of ours where, we was at the point where we were struggling to scale, and we've been selling the same products all year, using the same assets, same raw assets essentially all year, same faces, UGC creators. Wasn't pushing enough of those. But aside from creative, we had lots of winning creatives, right? We've had winning creatives at the top of the account all year round. Some partnership ads, some other UGC ads, some statics as well. But like you said there with the products, we've been selling the same products all year, which is a one-time purchase, which caps us on TAM really.
100% it does.
100%. We need to be bringing out products in iterations or something similar.
And is there no lifetime value on that product either? Is it just a one-time bang, probably don't come back for a while?
Well, the main product it's high AOV. It's around 50 quid. It's not too high, but for the UK market, it's more on the higher end. That product specifically, the one-time purchase, is something that you would not buy again. You wouldn't come back and buy it again, but they have accessories that you'll come back for and refill, but very, very small price.
Yeah, so that's not enough, right? Yeah, because then your whole game is NCPA, right? It's like,
exactly.
And you have to be so good at this game to have a product that people only buy once, right?
Yeah.
Like, you look at loop earplugs, like you only buy them. The lifetime value for them is like, surely people only buy one a year. That's the whole point of them. They're like really good earplugs that you don't have to keep replenishing. Like, how have they won? They've won because they've got like 3,000 ads live in their ad library. Right, that's how good you have to be at this game. Their messaging's insane, but what they've done is they broke out their creatives to open up new TAM. Right, so when you look in their ad library, they've got loop earplugs going at people for festivals, so they're in the festival TAM. You've got loop earplugs for people with tinnitus. Right, so then you're in that TAM. You've got loop earplugs for parents. You got it for they've got all these different builders, construction, like all these different.
The TAM is huge.
The TAM's huge, and they've opened it up with the creative. But you've got to be so fucking good to get that right? A one-time purchase only. You've got to be so good, and you've got to be a serious operator with serious margin. You've got to have a massive TAM to make that work. Yeah. I think that helps that they're a US brand. I think one-time purchase brands in the UK or smaller markets is tough.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It is tough.
It's tough, and I think back to what you were saying there is like you've been in a similar position for a while. I think what most brands don't get is that growth requires inputs. Do you know what I mean? Like you've got to be constantly working on something or winning at something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't just keep pushing the same products all year and then even going into the following year, with no new products and expecting different outcomes.
No. And I think you've also just got to ask a question at some point. If you're stuck at a certain level and it's small and it's the same product, like, do people want the product? Yeah. Have you backed a losing product?
How big is that TAM?
How big is that TAM, and how many people actually want this product? Is it a good product, or do you need to diversify out of it and try to look for a new product? It's like, just because this is the product you've got doesn't mean it's the one that's going to get you to where you want to go to.
Exactly, 100%, and that's why we do need to bring in more products alongside of it. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of it is as well, this product, was doing 100, well, still is doing 100k months. Mm-hmm. So the pixel is seasoned to a certain person, and we can use that customer data for new products. Like, what is that demographic also likely to buy that's not this one, which we can put on that website, and that pixel will pick them up straight away. We've got a big customer base there, customer database, which we can use to tap into.
100%. Nothing moves. Nothing gets a brand moving like new products, right?
Yeah.
It's like when we worked with Your Cover. Yeah, it's like we were doing the pod for ages, the ice bath, right? It was like we were doing the pod for ages. We got it to like, we're probably doing like, $1 million a month on the pod, right? And it was great. It was amazing, but we were stuck at $1 million a month. We were stuck at $1 million a month for a while. Yeah, from like probably March through to like August, September, and nothing we did would get us past $1 million a month. We tried everything. Yeah. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like, maybe we're just at this point where we can't get this past $1 million a month at this point.
Yeah.
The creative's where it's at, that input's covered. Your conversion rate's where it's at, that input's covered. That it was high AOV, which, automatically shrinks your TAM. Yeah. It's like, maybe we're just at where we're at. Then he brought out the sauna. Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Immediately grew. Immediately. The next month, almost double. Massive, huge.
Yeah.
And then the following 6 months from that point, he brought the offer out, the pod and sauna. Unbelievable offer. One of the best offers I've seen. One of the best product market fit offers I have. In fact, it is the best product market fit offer I have ever seen. Value for money and general offer. We ran that for November, and I mean the numbers he did in the next 6 months were just out of this world good. Right, like crazy margin, crazy ROAS, crazy number, crazy volume. I've never seen a brand scale that quick over a 6 month period in my entire life. Yeah, and I still haven't. Insane, and it's all because he opened up new TAM and smashed it with offer. Smashed it.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing we did. Yeah. We helped them get to the 1 mil mark. Right, by doing everything we spoke about with unit economics, account structure, creative, all these things. Yeah. But the 1 to 4 or 5 mil mark was just product market fit.
Products,
offer. Offer, because we were doing the same creatives, same way of working, same account structure, same everything. New product, new offer came out, boom, it just lit everything on fire. It just went off.
Yeah.
Gone.
Exactly. And I had the same conversation with a client recently who is currently struggling with the conversion rate. We've got really good click-through rate in the account. We're getting top spending ads, so we've got ads that are spending on a really good click-through rate. We know they're coming through, but the conversion rate is just not aligning, right? And I had a bit of a tough call with this client last week because he was coming to me. He was saying, look, it's the marketing. The marketing's not right. I'm like, no. That's not true, because if the marketing wasn't there, then they wouldn't be coming through, right?
No.
They're coming through, but the conversion rate's not there. And then I went away and done some competitor research, right?
Yep.
And there is another brand that is like 10 times more established than they are, fixing the same problem for £10 cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, and then you've also got Amazon, right?
In the same market, right? And I said to him, look, where's the incentive? You're 10 times smaller than they are. And you're £10 a month more expensive. Where's the incentive? And it all comes down to offer. If you as a net new brand on the market, you have to undercut these big dogs in the beginning. Obviously, eventually the goal is to increase your pricing as you become more established, which obviously makes sense. And it was a bit of an ego death on the call, a bit of a tough one where we collided heads. But I get it from a brand perspective. When you're a brand owner, you tighten up your chest. This is my price. I'm not moving on it. But then he actually came back on the call the week after, jumped back on, and he said, "You know what? I really appreciate the harsh truth that you gave last week, and I'm glad I'm not working with yes men." I said, "Look, I'm not here to, destroy anyone's ego or, try and hurt anyone's feelings." I said, "I'm just telling you what I know works." I was like, "Why would you buy that for £10 more expensive from a brand that's, nowhere near as established?"
It's got to have a USP that's better than theirs. It's got to have something different, right? There's got to be some part of the offer. Maybe he's got free gift with purchases that the others don't. You've also got in that game, right? It's like out of 100% of D2C sales, Amazon own 50% of them, right? So you're like, you are competing with these guys on Amazon that are way cheaper than you, and they can get it in fucking 2 hours. Yeah,
exactly.
Like I can order it now; it's here in 2 hours at the door.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got 5 days shipping at $4.99, and you're £10 more expensive. And the problem you've got in health and wellness in general. Not necessarily cosmetics, but health and wellness in general, is you can get competed down to zero so easily. It's like your product, it's got a different brand colour, it's got a different name, it's got a couple of different faces. It does the exact same thing as this one. Yeah,
exactly.
So if I hold them both up and the ingredients are exactly the same, you might both be claiming different USPs. You might want to push sleep. This one might want to push, some other health benefit. I don't know. Yeah. But they're the same products. If you're looking and the ingredients are the same, what are you going to make your decision off?
Yeah.
Price.
It's
obvious.
Price.
It's obvious. Yeah. And the first thing people do with that is they go to Amazon. They're like, "Oh, I love this brand. This product looks class. I wonder if it's on Amazon cheaper and I can get it in 2 hours."
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Done. But then also, this client was like, and I mentioned this about the ingredients and the pricing and stuff, and they was like, "Yeah, but I bet our ingredients are better. We've got better quality ingredients. Like the average person doesn't care about that. If you're fixing the same problem, but you're doing it and asking for £10 more per month, they're not going to come to you. Why would they?"
No, and
also you've got to remember is that if these brands are almost identical, right? The women's health and wellness, and you've got to remember that if they're getting this brand's ads, the one who's with me, they're also getting the other one. They're in the same funnel.
Probably, or 5 others, that you're not aware of, right? 5 other startups, and I think that's just working. When people talk about ingredients, they're working under the assumption that everyone knows what they know. They don't.
Exactly. This is what I explained. I said, the average woman in the mass market doesn't know anything about supplements. She works in a call center. She gets paid paycheck to paycheck. She lives paycheck to paycheck. She's got this problem. She just wants to solve it for the cheapest she can.
Yeah.
She's penny pinching.
You're turning her from problem unaware to problem aware, right?
Yeah.
And as long as on the tin you say you can do the same as the other guy over there, she's going to assume that she doesn't need all those ingredients if she's even bothered looking into them, because she's like, "Oh, well, this brand over here doesn't have X, Y, and Z in it. However, I don't know anything about that, and they're saying they fix the same problem. They're saying I'm going to sleep better. It's like, so I'm going to go with them because they're £10 cheaper." Right?
Exactly.
Especially when you're layering it's £10 a month, the subscription's £10 cheaper, right?
Yeah.
I'd get it if his one-time purchase was £10 more expensive and he was trying to drive more people to the subscription offer. But if we're talking £10 a month, people are going to make that decision. They're going to do the research for subscriptions for sure. And I think that's the problem with health and wellness markets in general, is it's so easy to get competed down to zero, right? It's like, a brand new product comes, it gets a load of hype, and then all of a sudden, like, all of it just gets drained all the way down to Amazon for, everyone's price starts at 25, right? And then new people enter the market. "Oh, well, we'll do it at 20, right? And then new people, we'll do it at 15, Then you get the dons on Amazon living in Thailand going to Elevation Bar that are like, "We'll do it for 5. It's like, we'll do it for 5 and it gets delivered in an hour. It's like, well, fucking, of course I'm going to do that. You all do the same stuff. You all got the same ingredients.
Exactly. And I was speaking to Charlie actually the other day, and he was saying that his business partner has got very wealthy parents.
Drinking Hydrava, by the way.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
his business partner, he was at his parents' house and very wealthy, and they had Nutrition Geek in the cupboard. But these are like very wealthy people. Obviously, Nutrition Geek is someone who's doing 20 mil a year on Shopify, maybe more. I think
they're massive.
Yeah, with an AOV of around 20 quid, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And this very wealthy man, he's going for Nutrition Geek. The client I was talking about earlier is like £40 a month, right? And Charlie actually asked, why do you choose Nutrition Geek? He was like, I can get magnesium for a tenner.
100%. The Nutrition Geeks are killing it because they're just doing Amazon direct to consumer. They're like, you won't find a better price. We're the best price. But what they will be losing money on the front end to making it on the back end because they'll have the lifetime value dialed in. They'll know per SKU, guy gets his magnesium. Our magnesium customers stay for 9 months. So we'll pay 3 months up front to get a 9-month customer. Why would you not?
Exactly.
Why would you not? But you have to have those numbers dialed in to do that. And
then when I'm also talking about pricing to this client, I'm like, look, we need to drop this price if we want to win. Their response is, yeah, but we're a premium brand. What do you think of that?
You can't launch as a premium brand, right? And also, like, you just assuming that people give a shit about your brand. Nobody cares about your brand. I think until you get to like the 1 mil a month stage, like you're actually not even a brand. Like
you think people are going to website with a product.
You're just an ad on Meta, right? Do you think if you cancelled their subscription at the end of the month, they're going to be like, oh my god, what am I going to do now? No, they're going to go straight to Amazon or the next brand that pops up on Meta and just buy it. It's like no, this game is a performance-based game. Yeah. Get dialed in. Yeah. You can, and it's so much easier to rise to a premium brand than it is to start a premium brand. Right? Exactly. It's like if you're going to launch a fashion brand, we've had so many brands that enter the market at 100. You know, you're going to do footwear and it's going to be £100 for your footwear. Yeah. And then you acquire a load of customers at £100 because the product market fit's great, the offer's great, the styles are great, people love the product, right? And then it's like, right, okay, for 6 to 12 months, we've been £100 to £120. It's like the next month, you're like, well, now we're 120 to 140. Yeah. Then the next 12 months, you're like, right, now we're 140 to 160. But you can still get the 120 ones, but we've discontinued 100 quid. So now we're and then next year, you're going to bring prices out that 160 to 180. And you do it until you drop a product and people are like, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. Yeah. And then you can roll it back down, which is what brands should do more often. And they either do one or the other. They either come in too expensive and then refuse to move and die. Or actually, some of them come in cheap and refuse to increase it, right? And then they can't afford a certain CAC and they scale to a certain level and then they can't get past that point because their AOV is only 50 quid and you're only ever going to be able to pay £25 for a sale, right? It's like, so you're capped at £25. So it's one of the other ways, but it drives me around. I think the brand thing with early stage brands, it's like you don't have a brand. Just listen to what people want. Listen to what people want and deliver it. Yeah. That's what you need to do.
That's what I said. I was like, look, it's not my opinion. I'm going off the conversion rate. The conversion rate is very, very 100%. Low. It's low. Why is that? Because it's too expensive. It's too expensive, and
opinions are pointless.
You're not a premium brand yet. You're not. Not. Some months they can't break past 10k a month. Like they can't, and that's including active subscribers. Like, and we can't break past this NCPA that we've got, target we've got, because of this barrier. That's the barrier to entry is too high.
Yeah, it's the whole and brands will die on that hill.
Yeah, I know.
Like they will die on that hill before they change it. Yeah, I know. And it's crazy to me because what you just said is great. Like, it's not my opinion. It's not. Yeah. It's a data. It's one of your inputs. Yeah, and growth requires inputs. One of them, if you're not scaling, one of your problems needs solving, right? Yeah. And if your biggest problem is conversion rate, then you're restrained to a few inputs that you can actually you can actually manufacture, right? So you've got your add to cart percentage, checkout percentage, purchase percentage.
Yeah.
And then you've got different problems within each one of those layers that you've then got to go and fix, right? Yeah. I'd guarantee his add to cart percentage is probably really low because people are landing on the site and they're like, no.
Yeah, it's got a high bounce rate.
Yeah, the product market fit and your price doesn't feel right to me for the value of the product. I'm not paying it. right?
Yeah.
And also what those people know, right? It's like selling sleep products can sometimes be hard because they can just go and get melatonin for like next to nothing off Amazon. It's like, well, it's got to be doing something mega to get me past melatonin, right? Or magnesium from Amazon again, right? It's like, and that's the decision that they come up against, and it's our job to find the constraints that stopping them from buying.
Yeah.
But then you've got to listen to the data. Like, I'm not here because I dislike your brand and I dislike your conversion rate. That's not why I'm here. I'm just here to report the numbers and tell you what's wrong and what we need to do about fixing it.
Exactly. 100%. That's exactly what I said.
And when you get the answer, it can't be that. You're like, no, it quite literally has to be that. That's what the data's saying.
A good one I always get is, well, outside of that, what else do you think could be?
What else can we work on?
No. Why is it just gone over your head? This is the problem.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is what we need to work on. And this is how we work on it. And I think there's definitely too much think and feel when it comes to problems and inputs and the actual levers you got. Like, you do just literally have a limit. We discussed it earlier, but you literally have a limited amount of inputs in ecom, right? And one of your problems is going to be within them. Yeah. And it's like when brands enter 2026 and they're like, we're going to grow this year just because we're a year older. It's like, no. That's absolutely not what happens. No one looks at your ads and is like, oh, if they're 1 year older, I'll buy more from this year. It's like, that's just not what happens. You're in performance, direct response marketing, right? It's like, you can have your forecasts and we can have goals, but what we're doing differently means we're going to grow. Yeah, this is a data game. So if we want to hit our new goals of moving from 1 mil to 1.5 mil this month, what are we going to do out of all of our inputs to get to that goal? Do we have a higher CAC goal that we can scale into? We're going to send more email, more SMS. Have we got a new product coming? Are we going to increase our creative volume, our creative shoots, creative diversity, more partnership ads? Have we improved our conversion rate? We're going to drop the price, increase the price to get more margin. Like, what are we doing that's going to get it? Because you don't just get 50% growth in any month just because you're still here. Yeah. Consumers are not going to walk in and be like, this feels like a 6-year-old brand, I'm willing to spend more. That does not happen. We have to improve the imports to get a better output. That's just the way that it is.
Exactly. It's not going to be like, these guys have been around for 6 years. You know what? I'm gonna spend a bit more with these this year.
It just doesn't work. And I get the argument. People will say, and you see it all the time. It's like, oh, but we've got an extra, 50,000 people on our newsletter. We've got an extra 250,000 people on our email list. It's like, well, work out those numbers. So your open rate, for an email. Your click rate and your conversion rate. So go away and say, I'm going to send 10 emails. This many people are going to open them. This many people are going to click them, and this is how many are going to convert. Go away and work that out. I'm going to send 10 emails a month for 12 months. Here's how many opens. Here's how many clicks. Here's how many converts. Go and work it out, and you can get your guaranteed growth from those 250,000 people today. You can tell them exactly what it's going to be. And I guarantee you, it doesn't get you an extra 10 million this year. It's it's not going to happen, right? You can work these numbers out with inputs. It's like, go away and run the numbers and you know it.
And then you just get, but I think.
And the think might come true, but you have to it's fine to think about things, but you have to then has an output to bring it to life, right? I think we can do better on creative. It's like, okay, well, I think click-through rate's 0.4, great, 1.4, which is good. What are we going to do about it to get higher then? You think it can be higher? Great. What are we going to do together to work on getting it higher? More shoots, more creators, partnership ads, more volume, like different people to create the ads. Like, what we're going to do, we're going to bring in internal team. You're going to get us to provide more creative for you, different people that we can bring into the team. Like, what are we going to do to improve it? Like, I'm fine for think and feel when it leads with action, but it's when it's just, I think, with no outcome, it's very difficult to provide that and to manage that expectation. It
just should be regardless.
Yeah,
100%. Even if everything stayed the same, we should just grow.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. We have to work on inputs and we have to make it happen. So when we're setting our goals for the year and our forecast for the year with our brands, it's like, this is what we've got. These are the lowest hanging fruit. When we put you in eCompass and we benchmark your numbers this year versus last year, versus market expectations, versus competitors and where you're expected to be in industry averages and standards, here are the top 3 metrics that we can improve this year, right? It's like, you've got an AOV of £60, your add to cart percentage is 4%. We can get that above 6. Yeah. How do we do it? Which products are holding us back? Which ones are raising above? What do we do to fix that? Yeah. Your link click-through rate's 0.8%. Amazing. We can definitely get that up, right?
Yeah.
How do we do it? Right. Well, last year we did 10 shoots and we generate 1,000 ads over the course of the year. Right. This year we need to do 20 shoots. We need to do 2,000 ads over the course of the year. Yeah. It's like our email open rate was 0.4%. Crap. Right. Let's get that to 0.8%. Keep the same click-through rate. You double the amount of people coming through. It's like, those are things I can deal with. But, coming in and flicking paint and feeling stuff to a better outcome is just not going to happen.
Yeah, doesn't work.